The Haunting of Blackwood Manor. Once, nestled deep within the heart of the sprawling Blackwood forest, stood a decrepit, long-forgotten mansion known as Blackwood Manor. For generations, the manor had been shrouded in rumors of paranormal activity and inexplicable occurrences. Despite countless tales of despair and fear, no one dared to venture near the eerie abode, except for one fateful night. It was a moonless night, in the dead of winter, when Emily, a curious and adventurous young woman, decided to investigate the stories that had haunted her dreams for years. She had heard the chilling tales from her grandmother, who had been a resident of the nearby village all her life. Emily's curiosity and fascination with the supernatural drew her to the manor. Armed with only a flashlight and a determination to uncover the truth, she made her way through the dense forest. The gnarled trees loomed overhead, casting eerie shadows that seemed to whisper ominous warnings. As she approached Blackwood Manor, the temperature dropped dramatically, and an eerie mist seemed to materialize out of thin air. The air grew thick with an otherworldly presence that sent shivers down Emily's spine. Ignoring her fear, she pushed open the creaking, wrought iron gates and stepped into the moonlit courtyard. The manor stood before her, its once grand facade now a crumbling, rotting monstrosity. Broken windows gazed like empty eye sockets, and ivy choked the once pristine walls. Emily's flashlight revealed a decaying grand entrance. The massive wooden doors, each as tall as a man, stood partially ajar, inviting her inside. With trepidation, Emily crossed the threshold into Blackwood Manor. The oppressive silence enveloped her like a suffocating cloak. Dust motes danced in the beam of her flashlight, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. In the dim light, she could make out a grand staircase that spiraled upward. Every step she took echoed through the desolate halls, and her heart pounded like a drum in her chest. The mansion seemed to absorb her every sound, making her footsteps sound thunderous in the quiet darkness. She explored room after room, each one more unsettling than the last. In one chamber, a cracked mirror reflected her own terrified face, twisted into a grotesque mask. In another, she found a child's room filled with toys coated in a thick layer of dust, as though the child had vanished into thin air. As she ascended the grand staircase, the temperature continued to plummet. The chill gnawed at her bones, and her breath formed frosty plumes in the air. She finally reached the top of the stairs and found herself in a long, dimly lit corridor. The walls were lined with portraits, their eyes seemingly following her every move. With each step, the corridor seemed to stretch farther and farther, and Emily's anxiety grew. She heard faint whispers, like distant cries for help, but she couldn't pinpoint their source. The walls began to close in on her, and the air grew thicker, suffocating her. At the end of the corridor, she discovered a door slightly ajar. Pushing it open, she entered a room bathed in an eerie blue light. In the center of the room, a grand piano sat, its keys untouched for decades. A ghostly figure, dressed in tattered clothing, sat at the piano, its bony fingers caressing the keys in a haunting melody. Frozen in terror, Emily watched as the ghostly pianist slowly turned its head to reveal empty eye sockets. A hollow, mournful wail filled the room, and the apparition's hands moved faster and faster, playing a discordant, haunting tune. The room seemed to close in on her, and Emily felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Desperate to escape, she stumbled backward and raced down the never-ending corridor, the ghostly wail echoing in her ears. She burst out of the manor, gasping for breath, and collapsed onto the cold ground outside. As dawn broke, Emily knew she had narrowly escaped the clutches of Blackwood Manor. The horrors she had witnessed would haunt her dreams forever. The legends were true, and Blackwood Manor was indeed a place of unspeakable terror. From that day forward, Emily never spoke of her harrowing experience. Blackwood Manor remained a forbidden place, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked in the heart of the forest, waiting to ensnare any who dared to venture too close.